In today's video, I will be showing you all how to make a lace wig, how to make a lace closure wig cap. I will be showing you all how I construct my caps for this one that I made. I'll be showing you all how to construct these and how we go from this to this. It's all about the foundation. So, first thing you want to do is buy a dome wig cap. You want one well-made. Get a well-made dome cap. Now, it's going to look like those basketball lines here, going across. And then it's going to go across like that. Now, in order to make a lace closure wig, you got to have lace. Okay, this does not have lace. So this is where you have to buy the actual lace to do it with. So I'm going to show y'all how to do that. And this shouldn't take long because we're not yet adding hair, because this is the base of everything. We need to be able to get a custom design. You're making a custom wig cap. It's so very important. We got our lace fabric here. And I'm going to show you about how to size it and measure it, because you don't want to attach this to the cap and sew it to the cap any old kind of way. So let's give this a zoom out, because we don't need it. Let's toss this out the way, because we got to get comfortable. So we have a piece of lace fabric that we're going to attach here. I'm going to teach you how to do it. This is a dome cap, ordinary swimming cap. I forgot who came up with this idea, but shout out to you, because it's made all our lives easier. All right, and I'm going to knead it like this. Good thing about adjusting the cap. Okay, let me have me some water here, because we finna go in. I will not be doing much talking, just because I want to focus on showing you all what to do. All right, where's our fabric? So we got our lace fabric here. It was kind of already pre-shaped, and I cut it the way they folded it when they sent it to me. All right, so this is potentially, it looks to be 5 by 5, potentially. And we're going to keep the integrity of it, which means we're not going to cut it off. We're not going to cut it shorter. I had thought about it, but I'm like, I'm just going to keep it as it is. And I'm going to show you how to position everything, because that's very important, which means I'm going to have to change Sister Girl over here so you can see what I'm doing. So we got our tools here already ready. Kind of picked up from the last videos. Like, look, you got to have your equipment. You got to have your stuff. All right, you're going to need pins, of wig pins, to plug and stick it in there. And so what we're now going to do, I'm going to turn it this way to face me. Take your lace fabric and begin to measure. What you want to do is figure out your placement. And you want to get to the point that where your placement is meeting the edge of the cap or hovering over, especially if you plan to cut the lace. If you want this to be glueless, I'm going to encourage you to not have your, don't adhere these wig pins where because exactly where you put the wig pins here is exactly where you plan to sew it down, adhere it. If you plan on this being glueless, don't let it overlap the cap. You see where it's overlapping the cap? Don't let that thing overlap. You heard me. Don't let it. That's not good. Especially if you want it to be glueless. But if you're planning to adhere it down, then the further down you go, then you'll know what you're working with. There you go. We're going to do this one glueless versus this one had lace out. We're going to do this one glueless. So figure out your placement. And what you want to do is wherever the lace stops, you need to line it up with wherever the cap stops. That's what you need to be doing. So we're going to line it up, and you want to make sure you line it up in the middle. And this is where I got to put it up a little bit. Hold on. Make sure you have a good wig block. Before I ever got this, I went to the hair store and I bought one of them doggone mannequins with a face. I used what I had before I got to this point. So you want to make sure you're pulling down that dome cap to about the area on the wig block or your mannequin if you have one. Because I've had one before. Speaking from both experiences, you want to pull it down to the area about where you assume where your hairline is going to be. But remember, when you put on a wig, it's potentially going to put it back further. You're just making extra room for it and exaggerating a bit to account for shrinkage when you make the cap. You see what I'm saying? Okay. All right. So, and I want you to give yourself, this should take you no more than about 30 minutes. So, if that, we're going to line up the wig with the edge of wherever the lace stops. This ain't working. At least not from this end. We already got hairs in it. We're not going to worry about it. We can brush it out. That's fine. Line that up. Now, when you have it lined up, you need a pin. And you want to place it in the middle. So, this is where you're going to need to adjust your cap. Cap looks crooked. You want to make sure the cap has an even placement. All right, that's better. Now I can work with that. This is stuff that I've learned for years, practiced for years, and I'm still not an expert. I'm just better at it than I was. Okay. And make sure that wig block, the line of it in the middle is facing you. Symmetrical. Okay. All right, we're going to grab one of those pins. Lord. You want to place one at the end, one at every corner of this lace fabric, and pin it into the wig cap. Pin it right in. And I don't want you to worry about, even if it's not in the middle, you can still shift the wig on the wig block to make it work. This is the equivalent of how to sew a lace closure with actual hair attached to it, to the wig, except for there's just no hair. Okay, so you can already see we've put in 2 pins, 2 wig pins. Now we need to account for the rest. So I need you to hold this taut because this is going to be a glueless wig. It looks like it's going to be like maybe a 1/4 of an inch of lace that's falling outside the cap, and that's all right though. So this is where we're going to stand up. I'm going to do this. We're going to put one at the back. I'm putting one right at the back in the middle. So you're going to put one at every corner of the fabric and then put some in the middle, except for the front. The front, you're not going to need to worry about that because you're thinking glueless or adhering it. At the front in the middle is the portion that's going to have the hair in it. Okay. Now we still have some ends here that aren't flat. What do we do with that? No worry. Now before I didn't do this, but since this is glueless, might as well try something different. Gather that part together if any part is overlapping, and you fold it over. Now, I should have figured this out with the nails, but it's all right though. Use this pen. Okay. Something to try to do this with nails. It's all right. It's all right. Because I've made these wigs with nails. Okay. You take and gather it together and fold it down the best you can. Take this. Pinch it tight as you can. And keep in mind, wherever you pin it down is exactly how you're going to sew it. That's how you fix overlap. I'm going to show it to you again. Like, I'm going to need me some more pins. You want to do it about the same spot. So that's what we're going to do. Get this over here. That's better. I'm determined to get it like this. That's better. Now, pinch it as tight as you can. No, you are not getting away from me. No, I'm gonna pull you tight. Like a bear hug. And pull the bottom part taut. Once you've pinched it and gotten that wig pin through the first 2 layers. Bingo. Now do not move anything after that. This is what we're working with. One at all 4 corners. If there's any overlap, pinch it, grip it, get another wig pin, pinch it, pin it downwards. Pinch it, pull it downwards. Because you want everything taut, because had we just left that little loop where it was flopping open and loose, that means your wig gonna be loose. Unless you have a bigger size head, then you can keep that. You could have just pinned it straight down without pinching that excess lace, and you'd have been fine. That's in essence how you make a custom lace closure wig cap. But if you have a bigger size head than the average, you don't do this pinching method. That's all I'm trying to say. Now we got to sew this thing down. All right. You're gonna need hair sewing thread and Old Faithful good needle. Now since y'all saw how to thread a needle before I got my nails done, I'm gonna show you how to do it with the nails. You get a tutorial within a tutorial. Unintentionally, I did not plan this. I really didn't. And you want to make sure that your thread is not too long, but just long enough to accompany. We're going to go in one motion and then back and forth. I do this with all my wigs. I've done it with lace closure wigs, with the hair attached, and just no hair attached. And then we're gonna make this real quick. Okay, so same method, but with nails, you want to hold either hand, dominant or non-dominant, and you want to take and just normal how I do it. And you're just using the pressure between your index finger and your thumb to push that thing through the eye of the needle. That's all you're doing. Now, we're tying a loop, and this is a little bit different. If you're doing this with nails, you want to kind of, normally I would do it, tie off the knot closer, but since we're dealing with nails, depending on the length of your nails, you want to kind of go out further than where you would normally tie off a knot and seal off the ends of the thread once you've threaded it. Okay, that makes sense. If not, rewind it back. Make excess room, which means you're going to have a lot more hanging outside of the knot. See, here's the knot. It's a little bit more than you normally would have. And try to focus on making all your knots in that one singular area. That's what you want to do. And then push it through and use your nails. Natural nails, same concept, depending on how long your natural nails are. Just need a lot of protein. I'm not a dietitian. I'm just saying it from experience. Oh, I was almost through there. Now this next part might go really fast, so I'm gonna want y'all to pay attention. I'm gonna start over here. So by the time I get over here, you can see the progression of me working back and forth in one motion at a time to cover the perimeter of where I've pinned down the fabric of the lace. Now, why is this thing act like it won't fly away? Start here. This is where I'm starting, but on this side to make it easier for me because my angle, I have a different angle than y'all. And just start it just like that. Wherever this excess thread is, right here, don't worry about it. Because you could start the other way, instead of going upwards, go downwards. Either way, that lace fabric is going to, the thread is going to be hanging out there. Get this done, and then I'm not going to be here before you long. I just want you to get the basics. Also, when you're at the point of the elastic band, this part, do not sew through that point. Do not sew through any seams. If you sew through any seams or any of the elastics, that has potential to shrink the cap. even if you don't do this pinching method and you have a bigger size head, it's just going to shrink it further. And then you're going to have to start over with another cap and another piece of lace fabric. And see, with your nails, you have to take one hand, hold sturdy. And I suggest using a C-curve needle if you're going to do any of this with nails, acrylic or natural, of any length. Because straight, you're going to be kind of fiddling with it, and you don't need to be fiddling with needles. Okay? No. You don't need to be doing that. You want to make sure you're putting that needle through that lace fabric first, then the cap, then come back up through the other side. So basically, you're just joining these two layers of fabric together by sewing. Now when you come to the part where it's pinching, where we've pinched to make up for that looseness in the cap, you want to turn that wig pin, lift it just a little bit, not all the way, because you don't want to unravel it. Hopefully you have pinned it away from where you're sewing, and then you want to sew down all that fabric together that you pinned. So that way, by the time you take that wig pin out, you don't have that loose fabric hanging anymore, making your cap loose. The only exception is where you don't have to do this is if you have a bigger, larger size or head. If you have a large size head, bigger than average. But if you don't, do the pinching method. We're sewing around the wig pin, which we do not need to do. Okay. Be careful that you don't do that, because then you have to stop and fix it, and that's fine if you make mistakes. If you have any wig pins in here, just make sure that the wig pins aren't catching it. Meaning if it latches on to any of this, stop and undo it immediately, or you're gonna have a mess. It also has the potential to tangle your thread, and then you have to start over and re-thread. Who feel like doing that? No one feel like doing that. So take your time. Now we're about the 25-minute mark, so I would plan off an hour to do something like this, just to do the wig cap, the base of it, the cap alone, the cap construction. An hour. You can take less time, but I would still plan out an hour to do something like this. part where I'm meeting the seams. These are the seams, this part here. If you come across seams where you pin down the lace fabric to the fabric of the dome cap, you can actually sew through those. I'm going to tell you why, because the cap portion that's laying underneath this, you're going to have to later cut it out. That is the only acceptable time to sew through the seams. That still has potential to shrink your cap just a bit, but not much. Now, anytime after that, you go to, after you're done with this part and you go to sew the, what you call it? The tracks, the hair, the bundles, outside of this part, after this part, on the next steps, then you're just gonna shrink it all. We're gonna shrink it more and faster. So just be careful with that. This is the only acceptable time to do it. And this goes for when you sew down a lace closure and pin it down with hair in it. And it's and the perimeter of where you've, and wherever you've tacked it down with wig pins is crossing over the threshold of a seam. That's the only time it's okay. With and without hair for lace fabric of a closure. It's the only time it's okay to sew over a seam or sew through a seam. Alright, so far, and you see how neat that is? Take your time. That's why I say take your time. Neatness might not need anything to you, but the neater it is and the more you're taking your time, the more secure the wig. Okay. Took one good tree snatch. I said, no, we're going to learn how to secure this wig. This is a way to secure the wig. Sewing an elastic band is a way to secure a wig. Oh, we need all the things. All the things. What are all the ways we can secure this wig so next time a tree don't snatch it? I'm also careful walking underneath trees too. That's an experience you'll never forget. And see, when you come across here, now I can take these pins out. You do that as you work. Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to the channel. This is just one of the things I do here on the channel. I do hair. I teach you how to take care of it, how to wash it, how to condition it. But then that's just one area of taking care of yourself. I teach you how to style the hair. I talk about hygiene, how to use perfume. I review perfumes. I teach you how to shower. I teach you the structure of shower, the importance of the shower, how to spray stuff, why a fragrance mist ain't the same as a fragrance mist ain't the same as a body mist, and it's because of the nozzle, and then why. So you get a little bit of everything here. But right now I'm teaching y'all how to construct, how to make a lace closure wig cap. The cap construction is important. And right now, and for those that's just coming in, y'all probably missed the part where we use wig pins to put down the lace fabric in the first place. You're gonna have to rewind it back, run it back, because right now we're sewing it down. And I was just saying earlier about how you should square away at least an hour to do something like this, although I don't think it's going to take an hour. Okay, thank you for sharing that, Shannon. Whenever I hear people that go through stuff like that, or maybe, you know, I always like to approach it very differently. Like, how did you wind up in that stage of life? When people live in that season of their life, I don't ever like to call it a condition. It reminds me not to complain about my life, because I bet you can be the person who can walk and run doing stuff. I bet you can, and that those are people I respect. because it teaches me not to complain. Anytime I feel like I want to complain, I look at the people that they're at more of they don't have the tools and the resources. I count my blessings. All the more reason to be thankful for what the Lord has blessed me with. Make my wife's hair. Oh, you referring to a wig? I think we're running out of thread here. So obviously I didn't measure out enough, but that is also fine. I'm going to show you what to do with that as well. I think we're going to stop here and tie it off because I want to be able to go through one time and show y'all what to do for when you have enough thread versus this scenario when you don't. So this is actually perfect. This is why I'm not likely to edit stuff out. No, I'm gonna keep it in here because you need to see it. Because now you need to know how, if you're doing this with nails like I am. I didn't even think about it till I started doing this. How to tie thread off for things like this with nails. Because some people have them long and they're natural, and some people have them long XL and they're not natural. They get them done. And you don't, maybe you just got a fresh set and you don't feel like, I spent too much money. Even if you done them, even if they press on, I don't feel like taking them off. Cool. This is what you do. You take two sides of the thread, hold whatever hand, non-dominant hand, position your fingers like so. Carry the other piece of the thread over, pull it under. You want to do this about 3 to 4, maybe 5 times max until that knot solidifies itself. And I think that's enough after we put it through this time. Okay, you see how that has potential to hang? I'm gonna show you how to continue attaching what we were doing, attaching the lace fabric to the cap, and sew that in there so it doesn't hang or snag. Hey, that's okay. That's okay. You're gonna get a little bit of everything here. How to wear it, how to put on the perfume, how to. Now, I might not teach you how to whip your hair back and forth. I'm not an expert in that, but I'm gonna teach you how to make it, how to secure the wig, so that way it don't So that way, if you happen to walk past a tree, it don't snatch your wig away, and you be embarrassed. We don't want that for you. Okay. All right. So we didn't have enough thread the last time, so we're going to. Make it a tad bit longer than we did last time. And then, I didn't plan this, but you get to see again how to do it with long nails, how to thread a needle. Position your fingers likewise. You're just getting that loose part of the thread where you cut it. Kind of, you can use shea butter for that if you don't want to quickly lick it like you licking an envelope. Okay. Because I realize some people is iffy about that. And as a person talk about hygiene, I just have different comfort levels, and so it's a little different approach in hair. You still need to sterilize stuff, but it's a little different for me. made that our last, right there. Got a nice solid knot. And keep in mind, you're more than likely to have more real estate of that thread hanging outside of the knot there when you're doing it with longer needles. Okay, so we're going to pick up where we left off, or where we started to run out of thread when we realized that, and you want to start over, you want to do an overlap and start over where you last left off. So that way, by the time you get to the portion where that excess thread is, you're incorporating it into your process. Therefore, this is a way of tucking thread. You ever heard of tucking braids? I'm tucking thread into the cap. That's excess thread you're not going to have to cut off. And I've done this before. It saved me a lot of thread. It saved me a lot of mess and clean up from just doing this method. Incorporating the loose hanging threads into what you're already doing. You're already sewing the lace fabric to the cap. Why not just incorporate it and overlap, especially if you didn't thread the needle with enough thread. It's a way of conserving, just no waste of the thread. You saving your coins, you're getting your money worth. You also don't want to sew too fast during this process, because if it knots up and you find that you can't get it unknotted, okay, then you got to cut the thread, and then you can't use it, which causes you to waste more thread. And who want to do that? It's always worth it to do your time. Just take your time. Take your time. All right, let me lock in here. I'm not yet going to take the wig pin out. I'm just going to lift and raise it. You see me do that? I'm making room for now that I'm coming around this corner. And so I need to be that much more intentional about getting that wig pin out of the way to allow me to have a smooth and seamless process. And yes, you may see more thread out here, but when we come back around to it, we're still going to lock it. We're still going to incorporate it when we come back around. I'm going to show you how to do that too. You're still conserving and saving thread, saving yourself from wasting more. Let's not let this cut off. There we go. Almost forgot to plug that in. We're coming across another seam. So I just want you to see that. We're coming across another seam. It's a no. We're reaching up. We're hitting a snag. Okay, hold on. We can fix it. We can definitely fix that. I'm going to pull out this pen since we've gone around that corner. Just pulling off one at a time. I'm going to take this other one out. Actually, no, keep the middle in there. And take the front one out. So right now we got about 3 wig pins left. Now you get to see in real time me incorporate this excess thread into everything, while also simultaneously sewing through the seam. This is the only time it's okay to do it, in my opinion. Because you're already going to cut that excess cap on the inside to make room for that lace fabric to show. Now we're sewing through that pinned part, so that means we gotta raise this pin, this wig pin, here, and let's see how we go through this. This is still another way, even if you make a knot like I did, I almost thought about cutting that. There's a way around it, and it's this way. There's a way. Where there's a will, there is a way. This way you're not cutting any thread, with the exception of me. That first time I ran out of thread while I was working. Okay. Okay, pull that out accidentally. Okay. And we're just gathering the cap, the excess thread, and the lace fabric, and we're sewing it all together around the perimeter of all that lace. I think we're at about roughly 45 minutes. Told you. I don't think it should take an hour, but you should still set aside an hour for it. Makes sense. Just to do this. We're not talking about the rest. The rest could, combined with this, could take another 8 hours, depending on your skill level. Make sure we incorporate that excess thread in there. That also acts as a way to secure it. And I think we're running out of thread again just because of that knot. So we'll have to thread it again, and that's absolutely fine. We'll just gotta be more intentional with each try, with each one, with each approach. That's a knot we got a chance to fix and undo. Isn't that lovely? Hey. Well, you get to learn all it is about wigs here, but then how to take care of your hair as well, and how to smell good, and how to smell good, how to get the most out of your perfume, your bar soaps, your body wash, how long you should keep them, how to tell if, when they go bad, all that in one. You just have to look through the playlist and the videos to my channel. Now this is a little bit uneven for the cap. And I have to show you another time how to do that. Alright, so we can pull this pin out. Alright, so I was almost going to say we had all the pins out. We don't. Now we're at the point that we have started over here on the opposite side and we've come over here. Are we done? No. Because if you do it one time, it has potential to rip. You want to do it one more time. That doubles the layer of the thread, and this thread is already kind of sturdy. You want to do it one more time and really attach this lace fabric to this cap as if you bought it, as if it was manufactured that way. And so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go right back up the opposite way that we came. And to keep it neat as possible, you want to make sure you're doing it at the same, I don't want to say pace, but the same level of thickness. When you're carrying that thread over and through and around both the dome cap and the lace fabric. Now, I've been able to do it neater than this with practice, and it looks very uniform, and it's secure. There's no potential for it to rip if you do it this way, but if you go through one time, there's potential for it to rip. I like to secure my wigs this way and the elastic band way. Don't take a chance at all. We're gonna stop here since we're running out of thread. And hopefully this is the last time that we have to run thread through this. Okay. Take that, split that thread into two. Take your time, tie it about 5 times. 3 or 4 is okay, as long as it's not just 4 times. Now remember, we got excess thread over here. Probably ain't seeing it, but we'll gather everything together. So I'm gonna leave that there because we're gonna gather it into another set of thread. for this last time. Well, I wear them as a protective style. It allows me to take care of my hair underneath. That's the primary, well, that's one good reason why I wear wigs. It's just convenient. Convenient. There are people that wear wigs, got a head full of hair. There are people that wear wigs that don't have a head full of hair. I don't think hair needs to be required for you to wear a wig. That's my personal opinion. I don't think it needs to be required. But I also think that people, whether or not you have a reason for why you wear it, why does it need to be a reason? I like to take care of my hair underneath. Natural hair is a job in itself. And so wigs just make it easier. I feel like as long as you're taking care of your hair underneath, and I say this for people who have the teeny weeny afros, their hair is a bit more fine. I've seen fine hair that's gorgeous. So both thick and thin hair is gorgeous. You could do anything with any texture and thickness and non-thickness of hair, in my personal opinion, and still make it beautiful. As long as you're taking care of your hair underneath, no matter how long or short or not as long as it is, I feel like you could still wear the wig. And it's cool. I have made them, I've worn them, I've bought them pre-made, all the other kind of stuff. It's just convenient. It's convenient, especially if you like to color your hair. And this is coming from a person. I can't tell you the last time I colored my hair, at least the age. I was in school. Think about it. That was the last time I used box dye on my hair. Ever since human hair and bundles and stuff came out, you run them bundles through color. You run them bundles through bleach. You want to experiment with some hair in case you mess up? Run it through some bundles instead of your hair. Because then you could just toss those or recolor them back to black, back to brown. Or if you fry it, you can just throw it away. You're not, it's still gonna sting because you spent your coins. Or get beauty supply store pack hair. It won't hurt as much. But coloring your hair, you should go to a hairstylist. And this is coming from a person who's not licensed, but I know how to do a lot of stuff like the licensed people. I just do it for myself. And I teach people, but I still recommend that you go to a licensed professional. You see what I'm saying? If you're new here, let me introduce myself. My name is Jessica. The channel is Jessica Be Brave. And I teach people how to smell good all day long. I love Jesus. In addition to that, the bonuses are makeup. I started out with makeup. I occasionally give makeup tips, especially for teenage girls. Starting out, because I know what I went through. Makeup, hair, how to take care of the hair, makeup tips, hygiene is what I mainly do, perfumes, how to use body oils, how to store it, how to shop, how to buy according to budget, how to buy, if you're not worried about a budget, the new products coming out, the sales going on. I take you in the store with me, so there's vlogs on the channel, in addition to all of these live streams and tutorials, a little bit of everything. Yeah, I do first impressions of perfumes and all this other kind of stuff. This stuff I forgot about now. That's in playlist. But take a look, hit the subscribe button, hit all. You are not obligated to, but if you're looking for a couple of those things I offer. I don't do everything, but I do everything beauty, just about, in those areas. that's based off of all my expertise. And I am a lifelong learner. So as I learn, I share it with y'all. So I'm always learning. I don't think I'll ever get to a point where it's like I learned it all. No. Nope. I just found out last month that my job ain't done. Was it last month or the month before last? That's a different subject. You can look on my channel after this live stream over with. You'll see what I'm talking about. About the EOS apple cider trend. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want y'all to get off track. So we're carrying this through here, and you see how I'm gathering that excess thread so it's not hanging out off the side. That comes in handy as well if you have a lace closure with hair attached. It comes in handy. Alright, we're coming across this part and the area in which you see that excess. Well, I can not put you in the frame. Let me show you how I gathered that in there. Now, so far you see the level of thickness of us going over it. Oh, sorry, wrong finger. A second time. This is how it looks when you go over it the first time. I don't really feel like it is that secure when you go over it one time, which is why I recommend going over it 2 times. It's thicker, but it's also more secure because you're going over it twice. Yeah. Hey, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. There are some people that they don't have their mothers in their life. Stuff has happened, and then there are those who are blessed to have people who are kind of close to or are like mothers. And there are those that have both. It's okay. That you just try to count your blessings for the people who are like parental figures in your life. God kind of revealed it to me, I want to say at least a year or more ago, that people who are aunts and uncles, they are the second in command. So they're also parental figures too. They're the brother of the parent, one of the parents, but still the sister of one of the parents, but they're still parenting their nieces and nephews in a way. It's a way to think about it. You're still parenting. Alright, so we're going to gather. I missed my first try. So you want to pull. This is the excess thread that we're working with. I'm trying to be mindful as to how I show it to you. This is the excess thread. Pull that up, since we're going back the other way that we started. And we're gathering that thread in there. This is a way of conserving thread. Now y'all saw, for those of y'all who were here before, if you just got here, you're going to have to rewind it back, where I tangled up about this much and I was able to still sew that, incorporate that thread into this cap during this process and during this step. We're at an hour mark, but I feel like we're at an hour mark doing this, even though I feel that it shouldn't take an hour, just because I ran out of thread twice and I knotted up that one time accidentally. There's a way to cover that without ever cutting your thread. You don't ever have to cut your thread. Now, you see this wig pin? Pull it up, pull it out, toss it to the side. I'm not editing that out. It happens. Okay. This is the side it's sewed one time. You see the level of thickness we're going over the second time? As long as you take your time and you don't hit any knots with your thread, you want to section off as much thread as you, just enough. You don't want it too long, but you also don't want it too short. So that's going to take practice. And we're just running it across a second time. It's going to overlap and probably create X's, but it's thicker and more secure than just doing it one time. Show y'all the wrong finger, but it's just out ahead of it. Trying to get my placement right. X multiverse. What do you do? I'm always curious what people do when they ask for a shout out. What do you do? Or they ask me to say something and they spell it out, or it's might be a slang term I don't understand. I'll be quick to ask people what it means. What does it mean? Because it means something. I need to know what it means before I say it. And before I come into agreement with it. That's just the student in me, the student mindset in me. Okay, so I think we're running short of thread. I thought this was going to be the last time. Used to don't be happening. Okay. I was going a little bit longer than what I thought I needed, but it wasn't long enough. It's okay. Good thing is we get to make this next one shorter. So we're just going to incorporate this loose thread into our next batch of threading. All right, that was about 3 or 4 times. Okay, now this is officially the last time. I'm not making it as long. Okay. Very last time we'll be doing this. Now, had we not tangled and tied up and met a knot in our process, it probably would have been taken almost an hour. Maybe it would have still took an hour, but I don't want y'all to be hard on yourself. I'm just saying that to let y'all know and then preaching to myself. But an hour tops is what this should take. Practice makes perfect. You want to do this on something that where you're not going outside with it, or it's not, and it's not for, not or. Don't do this for a special occasion. Do this for practice. Do this for something where you can just, if you mess up, you wear it around the house for fun. We got one last pin in there where we did that pinching method. Okay. I don't know what color this wig is going to be. That's the fun of it though. That's the fun. Cause see, I knew what this one gonna be and I wore this one. I took y'all through this one. However, this next one, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I don't know. All right, so we're gonna overlap the area at which we stopped with the last section of thread. And any excess thread, we're just gonna pin it down and incorporate it into us sewing the lace fabric to the dome cap. Hopefully we have enough thread this time, and I think we do. I'm not taking this wig pin out until we cover the area where we did that pinching method to account for the excess lace that would have made the cap bigger, and I don't need this thing no bigger than what we did to pin it down to size. You want to sew through all that fabric where you pinched it down, where you pinched it and then pinned it with that wig pin. I don't know if it's called the pinching method, but that's what I'm calling it. I had to pinch it to pin it out the way. Okay. Now, that's the last wig pin. Okay. We're just putting through that excess stacked lace. And I'm going to stay here for a little minute because I want to secure it. I do not want this part to unravel and then accidentally make this wig larger and come undone. There we go. All right. I think we secured it. Now, if you still have any excess thread sticking out from you having shorter pieces of the thread, which means you kind of underestimated how much you would need to go through one time. I know I did, and that's fine. Practice makes perfect, or near perfect. Practice makes skilled. Then you can go back behind those. Things and then tie it off. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing with this wig. Definitely gonna be a surprise to me. When I started this, I had no idea what hair we finna tack on to these. No idea. When I say no idea, I don't know what color, I don't know what texture, I don't know. I'm not threading this again, so what I'm trying to do this one last time. There we go. Now, let's cut it. I can tell how close I was getting with like thread running out again. It's okay. To see you paying attention to comments, put in the comments how many times I ran out of thread. If you make it to this part of the video. How many times did I run out of thread, including this last time, upon finishing the cap construction? I want to see who pay attention. I want to see who is. I want to see who's paying attention. Okay, obviously that's not going to work, so I'm going to take the other loose piece of the thread we got on this other side. Let's see what we can do with it. I guess it's too short for what we're trying to do. I'm determined. Bingo. Okay. Now, I know for sure we can do that a few more times and get it secure. Now, if you have nail glue and you're worried about, not worried, repeat that, you're concerned about it unraveling even with you doing this method, take the strongest nail glue you got, put it around certain points and let it dry before you even think about applying hair to anything directly on where that thread is only. And make sure it dries, so give it 24 hours. Dry, not gel. The old school nail glue. Color purple. I do have purple, but I'm not sure that I want to do purple. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I want to do purple. That's why I said I don't know what texture I want to do. I don't know what color I want to do. And this is coming from a girl, I like wearing color. Now, it's going to be subtle, and there's a classy way to do color and to incorporate color. Which is why I love watercoloring hair. If anybody remembers that from a few years, I think that's pre-COVID. Watercoloring hair, that method was popular, became popular. Why are you not looping into a knot? You sing you. Okay. I would aim for another, you know what, I'm gonna aim for one more. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna just see. I'm gonna just see. Thank you, Jesus. Whew. Now, we have excess thread sticking out here, and we've sewn all the excess thread in there. We can cut it kind of short. And you still want to leave some sticking out because you don't know when you get through the other part of the process if it's going to unravel on you. Now, you see how much thicker it looks as opposed to going over it one time? This is going over it 2 times. I started over on here, one side, and then I went back around, reverse. Doubling down doing this method secures the wig. Now, what is your next and final step if you're just starting off doing this? Turn the cap inside out, and do you see there is now a separation of lace and cap? What did we do with that? This is your final step. Just to show you what we're working with, okay? This is what, okay. Turn that cap inside out. And you see how going across it twice is very neat, as neat as we could get it. Yep, Now, I'm a person, I like the best worlds of both. Braids, twist in my natural hair. Braids. I do sometimes I let my hair out and sometimes I tuck it away. Put your hand in, sandwich your hand in between that layer of, trying to show it the best way I can, between lace and your dome cap once you're at this point. And you want to cut the bottom of the cap out. Now, you don't want to cut over on the part where you just did all that work sewing the lace fabric to the cap, because then you're gonna be mad. You'll be done cut the whole cap loose. Then you're gonna be looking there like that. Okay, I don't want that for you. I'm telling you this because I love you. Don't do that. Take your time. Take your time, please. Once again, I'm telling you this because I love you. Take your time, please. I tell people whatever I'm talking about, even stuff like this. Get a notebook, run it back, rewind it back many times you need to. You want to cut this away from. You want to cut the excess part of that dome cap where you just spent all that time sewing the lace fabric to the cap in the first place. Sandwich your hand between it. You want to cut the excess dome cap away from where you just sewed. And then you take your time. I almost wasn't going to include this, but I'm like, y'all need to see it because it is the last step. And it's very imperative because you need to know how to do it, especially if you think about doing anything like this. And the same process to do this for sewing lace fabric to it without the hair is the same process, but with hair. It's the same thing. I think I have a video from a few years ago when I showed y'all how to do it with a lace closure that had hair ventilated onto it, hair attached. And now you're seeing how to do it without hair attached. Funny how that stuff works. A couple years later, I wound up teaching how to do the opposite. That was one of my very first couple videos. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. This part, you definitely got to take your time if you want to take your time with nothing else. Baby, I have messed up and cut a hole in the fabric. And then you will not know until you make that mistake. Do you know how much it takes to repair lace, a hole in the lace for something like this? I've had to use the same thread to do it. Can't use glue. Or either use a thread that's thinner than this hair weaving thread to do it. And then you got to be very precise with it. Either that or start over with a brand new cap. Who feel like doing that? And you see how me taking my time? I've not. You see what I'm saying? That's the grace of God right there. Take your time. There we go. And now, you see what I'm saying? You just cut that portion of the cap that the lace fabric was covering. Clip-ins. Oof. Y'all want to know how to make the clip-ins? No matter what type of hair. Y'all have to let me know. I don't know. I don't think y'all be interested in that. I don't know. Clip-ins are okay. I feel like they're good for added color. And then here it is from the top. Because we ran across it 2 times, it's now secure. Now we're going to put this back on. And we're going to be very careful with it. I want you to see the extra bunching up in the cap that we had to account for by using that pinching method. You want to pull it taut, but not too taut to where you rip the lace from the cap that you just got through. Never mind. Oh, wig block girly girl. She done been through a lot. And you see that? Going over it 2 times secures it. Don't worry about this being shown. That just means that you took your time. And the important part is the lace is intact and secure. And this has the potential to be glueless. I decided not to overlap it like I did with this one. This one I overlapped it. We're not overlapping this. So if you're just joining, I have just gone over in great depth as to how to make a lace closure wig cap with lace fabric and with no hair attached. Now you're gonna have to run it back. You're gonna need a notepad in case you missed anything, especially to those of you who have just joined. This is something I've been doing, custom wig caps, and you could cut whatever fabric size. This I've cut longer and going all kind of directions, and you can still apply the same method, except for the technique's going to be different. So if you cut this into all the way across 13 by 6, your approach, your technique's going to be different. You're still going to approach it the same way, pin whatever shape to the dome cap, but your sewing method's going to be different. If you make it circular like this, you're still gonna sew it the same way, go across it twice, but then the cap's gonna look different. I'm just using the traditional closure one because it's the easiest. But run it back if you need to. I love each and every one of you, and I thank you tremendously for spending this time with me. I'll be back, I don't know when, but I shall. If you don't want to miss anything, hair, nails, pedicure, perfume, body care, whatever it is, then hit that subscribe button in the top right and hit that all bell. Guarantee it's gonna be worth it. The goal is for you to walk out confidently. The goal is for you to be confident in doing any of these things. And I get to testify and tell you about how good God is and what He's done in my life too. A lot of it is funny. He got a sense of humor. Love you.